Welcome, Drink with James, episode 106, a very special American episode. Happy birthday, America. We made it. I don't know how old we are. This could be our last year, though. We might be sliding into the oblivion. But even if you're on your deathbed, it is still worth celebrating a birthday. We made it another year. Every year I make the same joke on Instagram, or I have the same caption or the comment where I say that America is like happy anniversary to the world's most successful startup, which in a lot of ways it is. If you look at kind of its trajectory, it was like disruptive. Right? You had these unhappy people that weren't getting what they wanted out of one thing. They went somewhere else, created their own thing. They fought the status quo. They ended up being right. And now, congratulations.
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking well, let me tell you what I'm drinking. I'm drinking a Budweiser Heavy. This is brewed by our original process from the choicest hops, rice, and best barley malt. I don't really like it very much, but I appreciate it. I think a Bud Heavy, it's not an unappealing beer. It is a little filling at times. I drink Bud Lights if I ever go to dance in a club atmosphere, and I'm not saying like Unce Unce Club, but I have like a thing for like Motown dance parties. So I will find my way in those every once in a while. I drink Bud Light because it's just like you can just crush that all night. And sometimes I'll drink a Bud Heavy if I want a little more, if I want to enter Flavor Town and take the exit ramp from the, watered down Bud Light. So we're drinking a Bud Light. We got the backdrop. This is actually my American flag. So any Trump trolls that watch this and say I'm un-American, which actually, I'm just side note real quick. We run ads on Facebook with some video that we've done, and somebody commented, you can tell he's a liberal by his clothes and his hairstyle and his mustache. And I was like, I felt great. I felt great that there was like a angry Republican who looked at me and was like, look at that fucking liberal. So I felt great. I was like, what a compliment. Thank you so much, sir. I didn't say that because I tend to think that it is best not to engage with the trolls. So, questions? Question number 1. What are my thoughts on the lack of diversity in the Revolve influencers, not only skin color, but body diversity? I do think I have touched on the Revolve issue before, maybe not as a question, but I think I've mentioned it when I'm talking about diversity. I think Revolve misses the mark completely. I think that it is a huge missed opportunity for them to not include more diversity. The world is not made up of skinny blonde women. Revolve doesn't seem to totally understand that. I give Revolve a little more shit. Like, look, we sometimes struggle with our clients. We push diversity, both, diversity of skin tone, body type, religion, location, age, all those things. Sometimes it is hard to get a client to do those things. And so, we have been guilty of running campaigns that don't have diversity as well. This is, it's not kind of a new thing. I think what I've been thinking about recently, and something that came up a lot in the conference, was I don't think diversity should be a box that gets checked off. I don't think you should say, do I have FTC compliance? Check. Did the influencers, do I have a tight brief that I feel like is going to reach our goals? Check. Am I tracking this campaign? Check. Do I have diversity? Check. I think if you're thinking about it in that way and you're saying diversity is a thing I need to do, then you shouldn't be the person coming up with a campaign. Diversity is a thing that you should do. It is an opportunity. It is not something you have to do. It's not an obligation. It should be seen as an opportunity. There are a lot of amazing communities out there that you will never reach if you just work with skinny white girls with blonde hair. And brands that ignore that fact are doing themselves a big disservice, and they're doing their bottom line a big disservice. And the conversation, this is not my idea, but I heard someone say that they want to move away from inclusivity and into belonging. And I kind of like that terminology shift to say that we shouldn't talk about this as these people deserve a seat. We shouldn't talk about this like we need to give these people a seat at the table. We need to give them a seat at the table. It should be they deserve a seat at the table, and you're crazy if they're not there. But the industry is run by, at the very highest level, the industry is run by old white men. And as you go down, it is mostly run by younger white women. It is intimidating sometimes to try and market to a community that you don't understand, a community that you are not entrenched in, especially on social. The little things, the way you talk about things, the language that you use, the wording that you use, the emojis that you use, all of those things can be specific to the niche community that you operate in. And if somebody comes in and tries to speak to your community and does it in a way that is inauthentic, or where it's clear they don't know what the fuck they're talking about, then it's painfully obvious. And I think a lot of marketers, a lot of people in this position, they're not racist, they're not bigots, they don't want to not work with people that don't look like them. I think it is a fear of not understanding the community enough to be able to speak to it with authority and with confidence. And so I think they say, I'm not going to be punished for not doing this, but I could be punished if I do it wrong. And so I think, unfortunately, the weight falls on the shoulders of influencers that are outside of the norm in the fashion and beauty space. It falls on y'all to educate. We're trying to do the same thing, but I think that we need to change the conversation and talk about how exciting the opportunity is to work with people that look different than you, instead of I feel wronged because I am not included in this. I'll caveat all of this by saying I'm a privileged white man who probably has no idea what they're talking about. But it's a problem that we are trying to do whatever we can do to help. So I know a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds watch this show. And so if what I just said makes sense, if you think I was off base in any way, whatever it is, drop me an email. This is a conversation, and I think one that needs to be had. So I would love to hear thoughts from people that are in that community on how, brands such as ourselves can help to change it. Question number 2 is, how do you take your feed from personal to a gifting or paid feed? So this is an interesting question. Let's say you just fall into having a following for some reason. What do you do then? For a lot of you, you started your Instagrams the sole reason of trying to become an influencer, trying to become a blogger, trying to give people advice, beauty tips, travel tips, cooking tips, parenting tips, whatever it is. But then there's some people who just woke up and kind of had a big following, had no idea this industry existed, and are now like, oh my gosh, what do I do with this? I think the first thing that you would notice from a personal feed versus a more professional feed is a lack of cohesion. A lot of professional influencers that have a point of view, and they make sure that everything they do is seen through their specific lens, like a filter on Instagram, essentially, right? So everything they do is seen through that filter. So while you may have been to Greece on your own, you haven't seen Greece through the filter of this person. Look, this is what Anthony Bourdain was great at, right? A lot of you have potentially traveled to Japan or Vietnam or any other, New Orleans, any other country that Anthony Bourdain went to, but you didn't see it through, his lens was so much different than everyone else's that you wanted to see what that place looked like from that person's point of view. Personal feeds often don't have that because it's much more just like, hey, this is what I'm doing, which probably means in a lot of ways you have a lot more engagement because it is personal, it's not about brands, it's about you. That will be the biggest shift. How do you take something that is about you, that was weird, like intonation. How do you take something that is about you and start to make it about you and the life you're living, you and the brands you work with, you and the places you travel, and the restaurants you go to, and the things that you love, and the music that you listen to. It's about not just you, but your viewpoint. That is a pretty big jump, especially if you don't have a viewpoint. And we talk about that all the time. You know, that was a big thing in the last episode. I think a big takeaway was you need to be interesting enough that people are talking about you. You need to have a viewpoint. People loved Anthony Bourdain because he had a viewpoint. A lot of people fucking hated Anthony Bourdain, you know, and they thought he was an asshole because he had a viewpoint and he didn't waver from that. And so as you take your personal feed that maybe you were on a TV show, maybe you, I don't know, maybe you're just really, really good looking and you just have a following. Maybe you were a pro skater and you're not anymore, but you have this following. Okay, so how do you take that and start to say, what is my viewpoint in the world and what are the brands I love and how can I talk about that? And I think I would start by maybe writing down what are my 10 favorite brands in the world. And then I would do a post about those brands without talking to those brands, without reaching out to them and saying, I want to do a post, could you send me something? I would just do a post about those brands and talk about what you love about them and why your followers should care about them and why they should become customers. That's a good place to start. If you can't speak in a compelling way about the 10 brands that you love most in the world, there's no fucking way you're going to be able to talk about a brand that maybe you're a little less passionate about that is now paying you to speak about them. So start with your top 10, work out those muscles. It's a muscle, it's something that you can learn. It's something you need to train your audience. Do that, that's a good first step. Question number 3 is, what are my thoughts on affiliate marketing? Affiliate marketing is a huge part of the space. It is one of the only parts of the influencer space that we don't touch. It's not because it's a bad business, it's just a very different business than we run. Affiliate marketing is great. It is bottom of the funnel. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up marketing funnels. Think about where you are. Are you bottom of the funnel, top of the funnel? Top of the funnel are people that can pique people's interest in a brand. To say, oh, I've never thought about that brand. I've never heard of that brand. I respect this person. If they like this thing, I will pay attention to it. Bottom of the funnel is like a Facebook ad. It's a brand, you're probably familiar with. You're already probably close to the point of purchase and somebody said, buy this now, it's on sale, I buy it. Or, hey, you go to look at a lot of the influencers that do like it to know it, and it's a certain type of influencer. Every post they do generally is full body outfit or waist up. They keep it under $100. They're like, it's summer, here's my favorite slides, they're $54. Click on like it to know, or go to my blog, click on the link, whatever. It is very much, the posts are not meant to inspire you, they're not meant to be aspirational, they're meant to get you to fucking click and buy. And so the products you need to work with are ones that people would be like, ooh, I need that, I'll click it and buy it. I'll give an example for me personally. I am wearing these loafers today. I wear them all the time. I talked about them on my Instagram once. I was like, hey, these loafers are $180. They're great. They get the job done. I've bought 3 pairs. I love them. You should buy them. I got like 15 messages from dudes over the next month being like, what were those loafers you mentioned? I'm looking for loafers. Could you send me a link? It was the right kind of product. It was affordable. I talked about it in a way that was like, hey, you should buy this. Like, I'm not trying to sell you on the brand of Jack Irwin and say like, oh, it's such a cool startup. They're doing all this shit, because I don't think they're that cool. But they make a good pair of loafers. And there's no reason spending $500 on a pair of Ferragamos. I think these do the fucking job. So it's a different kind of product, and it's a different kind of influencer, and it's a different kind of message. And so you have to think about, am I going to be that top of the funnel, aspirational? Good examples like Taylor Lachey, right? Who is beautiful. She looks very French. She, is not trying to get you to buy anything. If anything, she's trying to get you to buy like her lifestyle and her look, and just like buy into that. And so brands want to be associated with it because there's a lift that comes with that. Then you look at someone like Something Navy, who is very much like, she posts something, it sells. Her audience is there because they like her, because they respect her, and they're also shopping. And she likes the same things that they do, and she gives them suggestions on that. So, if you are a more bottom of the funnel, more product-focused influencer, affiliate marketing is essential. You should definitely do it. If you are trying to be aspirational, if you're trying to create art, if you feel like you're more of the brand lift, brand awareness type influencers, don't do affiliate marketing. You don't have to. You're not gonna make any money on it because you're not gonna sell shit. It's really hard to get people to buy stuff just because you say buy it. So if you're making 5% on sales, okay, and you sell $1,000 worth of shit for a brand, you make what, $50? You make $50. Do you think your post is going to sell? Okay, so let's step back. We'll do that. I'll cut that out. But let's just do some quick math. Let's say you have 100,000 followers. You could get paid $1,000 a post. Okay, so let's say most affiliates pay out 10%. I think that's generally maybe a little on the high end, but that's in the realm. So to make that $1,000, you would, at 10%, you would have to sell $10,000 worth of stuff. Is that correct? My math's right? So to make $1,000, you have to sell $10,000 of product. Do you think you could move $10,000 of product with one Instagram post or one blog post? There are people who can do that and do much more than that, but it is really, really, really hard. There's a lot of value in brand lift and brand awareness. But once you start putting yourself into the affiliate, the other thing is the brand's gonna be like, cool, did a post with you, you sold one thing. So I don't really see the value. So look at the funnel, figure out where you are. If you think you're a bottom of the funnel influencer, lean into the affiliate programs, check them out. There's a lot of different ones with a lot of different rates. It's not all just reward style. There's also, people that pay per click. If you think you're more top of the funnel, brand lift, brand awareness, stick to sponsored posts. Look, it's such a weird day because it's Tuesday, but it's kind of like Friday, but then it's like you're back at work on Thursday. But I hope you all have a great, or I guess you're watching this after, I hope you had a great 4th of July. I hope you saw some fireworks. I hope you held a Roman candle and drank a Budweiser and ate a hot dog and said your thanks for, if you're living in America, for living in a country that was at least founded on values that are admirable and good and just, no matter how far we've strayed from that. So here's to the past.